Okay. Our next one is called the Family Banjo. The more I see like these red lines, the more I'm like, please just listen. I have enough energy and I'm wide awake, but at the same time, don't make every SCP like secretly longer than it's supposed to be. Safe. SCP-1928 should be kept in a padded, airtight case to prevent damage or accidental activation of anomalous properties. This artifact is stored at Research Sector 09 as part of the Bonifay. The Bonifay! The Bonifay again! Family collection. Cross-testing of SCP-1928 with yeah, there it is, SCP-1890 and SCP-1896. Oh, we're back with the Bonifay. Oh, hell yeah. Has been suspended pending further study of Incident Times Union. See Addendum 2. SCP-1928 is a Banjo UK? Is it UK or UK? Or Banjo Lele? Identical to the discontinued brand originally mass manufactured in the 1920s. When strummed or tapped with only one hand, SCP-1928 produces sounds comparable to a non-anomalous instrument. However, when a human subject places both hands on any part of the artifact, they will be compelled to play it. Except in case of disability or manually impairment, subjects affected by SCP-1928 demonstrate consistently superior technique and speed in various styles of strumming and fingerpicking. No audible sound is produced by his compulsive playing. In-person observation and audio recordings have only reported the sound of the affected subject's breathing or the rustle of their clothing. Tested subjects describe their movements as involuntary while affected. However, subjects' facial cues and body language suggest intent, concentration, or thoughtfulness. While under the influence of SCP-1928, subjects will not respond to visual or auditory stimuli, only returning to full consciousness if another individual comes into physical contact with SCP-1928. 6 images of SCP-1928 identified by distinctive scratches in the capital Bon scratched on the back of the head have been found in SCP-1890. I think that's the family, that's the photo album one, if I recall correctly. Let me double check. Because either it's 1890 or it's 1896. That's the photo album. Let's see here. One 1890. Yeah, that's the photo album. Yeah, gotcha. The instrument is pictured in the hands of individuals of different ethnicities and ages, or placed on display with other valid possession. Addendum 1, as of 12. What am I doing? Why am I doing this the wrong way around? 10th, 12th. There we go. 7 days to the hour since the first test conducted with SCP-1928, and a human subject, a secondary effect has been observed. Excerpts from research notes. Okay, here we go. The 10th, 12th. While returning another item to containment, a research. It's getting a little bit chilly in here. I'm just going to put this on. A research assistant noticed that SCP-1928 was vibrating inside of its protective case. The assistant reported this anomaly promptly and did not attempt to handle the object. I arrived within 5 minutes of the alert, at which point the vibration had ceased. Seconds later, the sounds of banjo music could be heard in the immediate vicinity of SCP-1928, unmuffled by the case, at about the same volume as a comparable instrument being played. After about 60 seconds, the melody was joined by a voice singing in a style reminiscent of the Sprechstimme, featured in many American folk songs. Oh, interesting that. Okay, so Sprechstimme, that's a German word, which Sprech, it means to talk, and Stimme is voice. So talking voice, as in, I guess like it's almost like I never heard that be used in like in songs, so I'm not sure what that actually means. This song lasted for approximately 4.5 hours, but the assistant and myself were unable to record the music. Curiously, although we both identified the song languages as American English, we were unable to remember any of the lyrics or even individual words of the song. SCP-192A was removed from the containment for close observation. Oh wait, maybe Sprechstimme is because it's about like it's about talking voice, right? Maybe that means in a song, it's when it's not being when the lyrics are not being sang but they're being talked. Maybe that's what Sprechstimme means in the song context. 10th, 14th. At 15.7, the phenomenon occurred again. Myself and several assistant and D-class subjects observing. Despite the cooperation of 6 listeners, no member of our group was able to recall the lyrics of the song after its abrupt end. Listeners also described markedly different voices. Some identified the singer as an adult male, others as an aged adult male, and an adult female, or a child. Memories of the song's melody and style remained, however, and subjects unanimously recalled hearing a lament or synonymous descriptor. Attempts to record the music with analog, digital, even redacted devices result in nothing but 5 minutes and 16 seconds of static. 10th, 19th. After the third recurrence of this phenomenon, 7 days to the hour after the initial third test of SCP-192-8, it was clear that the timing of the anomalous music coincided with the dates of the initial test. In preparation for the next occurrence, a visual recording of the 4th test was set to play simultaneously with the first notes of anomalous music in accordance with times noted in the original experiment log. A level 2 researcher with considerable experience playing stringed instruments observed and confirmed that the test subject motions in the recording were perfectly in sync with the anomalous music. 11th, 2nd. This phenomenon has been observed 10 times in the course of 2 months, always corresponding to the date, time, and duration of previously conducted tests. Addendum 2. Sometime after the observation of SCP-192-8 secondary effect, approval was granted for cross-testing of the Bonifay family artifacts. SCP-192-8, SCP-1890, and SCP-1896. In an effort to learning more about the seemingly interrelated history and nature of these items, Incident Times Union describes the textual and photographic alteration that occurred as a result of these experiments. Excerpts from experiment log. I assume that this is the last one of the Bonifay items that we got, because like throughout all the Bonifay SCPs so far, the swing, the photo album, and now the banjo, they always like reference each other, but they haven't referenced a 4th one. There might be a 4th one later down the line, but so far we only have these 3. So from what we know, or what I know so far, this is the last Bonifay SCP related one. The last SCP, last Bonifay related SCP. That's the correct sentence. Procedure: SCP-192-A was placed in the hands of subjects already under the enormous influence of SCP-1890. The examiner is still experiencing acute phase blindness and ability to recall the Bonifay photographs in great detail. Designated Group A or SCP-1896, in the examiner having recently experienced more than 40 minutes of associated sensory distortion and hallucination. Designated Group B, with Group C consisting of subjects under the influence of both items. Okay, cool. So with Group A, because when you open up the photo album, you forget people's faces around you, but you will remember all the Bonifay family members in the photo album as if you like lived with them, or if you hanged out with them. And with Group B, the swing, you will be sent into you will feel like you lived a playtime moment with some children, and your mother yells at you and so on and so forth. So one is as if you, in both cases it's very much like, oh, you were part of the Bonifay history, basically, in one way or another. Results: subjects of all 3 groups were unaffected by SCP-1928's compulsive properties. Instead, upon placing both hands on the artifact, subjects expressed nostalgic attachment and familiarity with the object. Yeah, that's another thing that both SCPs have done. All SCPs have done. It makes you feel like as if you miss a certain time with the Bonifay family. Subject in Group A immediately and unquestioningly recognized SCP-1928 as the artifact depicted in 1890 expressing delight at having a chance to see the family baby Banjo. A phrase used by 5 of the 7 test subjects. Regardless of prior knowledge, subjects were able to answer questions pertaining to the history and technical properties of the banjo uke with some specific. Okay, I need to actually know how to say this.
Uke.
Is that really? How is it? That doesn't. Uke. No, I guess that's it. Yeah, UK. With some specificity, each subject claimed to know the original owner of the instrument, although no 2 subjects described the same individual. The artifact was described alternatively as a wedding present, the handcrafted work of a multi-talented farmer, and the product of a successful barter with a witch, among other detailed anecdotes. Subject in Group B all recognized SCP-1928 as a familiar object, but were not certain why or from where they recognized it. However, unlike subjects in Group A, when prompted to attempt to play the instrument, and in some cases without prompting, subjects in Group B were able to play the instrument with a moderate to high level of skill, despite being specifically chosen for the lack of musical background. Unlike music previously produced by SCP-1928, these melodies were immediately audible and recordable. The songs played were recognizable American folk tunes, all predating the 1930s, including Idumea, O Death, Pretty Polly, and a traditional arrangement of Psalm 137. While it is impossible to be certain the similar themes expressed in the song's lyrics, particularly Psalm 137 or Babylon, which was heard most frequently, may have some connection to the artifact's history. Subject in Group C did not simply display a combination of the previous behaviors, but experienced heightened delusion of familiarity with SCP-1928. The subjects seemed to regard themselves as descendants of the Bonifay family, unconsciously slipping into the first person when relating the artifact history. As in previous cases, it makes sense that this guy thinks the descendant of the Bonifay family. You are connecting them to every single Bonifay SCP right now. As in previous cases, no 2 of these stories were identical, although many of the places and persons mentioned corresponded to the notation in SCP-1890. When Group C subjects were prompted to play the instrument, they not only played but sang and frequently offered it to perform an old family song without prompting. As in previous tests, however, these songs have proven unrecordable by manual or technological means. Neither researchers or test subjects were able to recall the lyrics song. And now we have Instant Times Union. During and after the testing of subjects in Group Z, anomalous irregularities were observed in several paper documents. All of these documents were either inside or in the near vicinity of the testing room while the subjects were speaking or playing under the influence of SCP-1928. Most of these irregularities consisted of the word family or short phrase by the waters, please consider my age, appearing in the middle of a sentence, in both handwritten and typewritten document. A total of 18 altered documents were collected. See attached files for detailed lists, and cessation of testing seems to have curbed the spread of the anomalous changes. Here we have a picture that says, copy of the altered photo previously depicted an empty field, but now there's a whole bunch of people here. Not all creepy. Oops. Of these collected items, the most notable is a copy of the local Sun Sentinel newspaper dated the 1st 10th. During testing of SCP-1928 with a Group C subject, assistant researcher Evans observed the text in images printed in the newspaper changing to reflect a 1920s edition of the Times Union and one of the oldest Floridian newspaper. These changes were incomplete, affecting only individuals' columns and pages of the document. Sports columns reporting on decades-old games. Political articles changed to reflect the local concerns of Florida in 1928, etc. Of greatest relevance, however, were the changes to the obituaries and photographs. Photos were not only altered to reflect the technology of the 1920s, but changed to feature indistinct human figures in space that have been blank. None of these figures can be identified. The obituary section was expanded to include nearly 1,000 names, in some places printed over the top of one another, all sharing the surname Bonifay. Ooh, the Bonifay. This one, yeah, no, okay, like I said, this might be the last Bonifay related SCP. And it came full circle after reading 1890 and 1896. And who knows, maybe there's one more Bonifay item somewhere available, but the fact that it changes like text and images to fit the 1920s aesthetic is an interesting, but it seems only to be with group C, right? So you really have to like, so if you combine all, if one person has done the test with every single SCP, they're slowly transforming the environment into the lifestyle and the environment, as I said before, of the Bonifay in the 1920s. Maybe slowly becoming them, who knows. It's technically one way to be immortal, if you think about it.